Hi, welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. Well, a couple of weeks ago, a new piece of research came out showing that in the Nordic European countries, which have higher rates of gender equality, they also have far higher rates of domestic abuse, male-female partner abuse, than what other European countries with lower rates of gender equality have. Now, the researchers are calling this the Nordic Paradox. Now, initially, if you're like me, the first thing you thought was, I wonder if this is because of difference in reporting. So those other countries, they're under-reporting. But the researchers actually specifically say under-reporting does not actually make any sense. It's not a very good response to the questions that their study actually raises for two reasons. Number one, those other countries with the lower rates of domestic abuse actually have higher rates of police reporting. And secondly, the disparity between the Nordic countries and the other European nations is so great that even if underreporting accounts for some of the difference, there is still going to be quite a marked and varied difference, a massive difference between these nations when it comes to their levels of domestic abuse, partner abuse between males and females. So why is this? Why is it? Shouldn't the theory be that with greater gender equality comes less male-female violence? Shouldn't that be how it works out? Well, and this is what these researchers have said. They're not putting any theories, or they're not saying what the cause is. They are simply at this stage calling it the Nordic Paradox because they don't have an answer. Now, others are starting to posit theories. One theory that I saw suggested that when you actually look at the religious versus secular nature of the different countries involved, you will find that in the Nordic countries they have far higher rates of secularism, whereas in the other European nations they're being compared to, they have far higher rates of religiosity and the religious belief. So the suggestion here is that people in those countries with religious belief, they have a view about male-female partnerships, particularly marriage, where they see men and women on a sacramental journey together, and that has an impact upon the way they treat each other. My personal theory, actually I've got a couple of personal theories here. Number one is I would like to see comparisons done between the rates of pornography use and around sexual ethics in the Nordic countries versus those other European countries. Are they more traditional? Do they have less pornography in those countries? Because there's no doubt that pornography use shapes male attitudes and behaviours towards women. So I'd be interested to see if there is any factor there. Another thing I think is worth questioning is around sexual ethics. If you grow up in a culture that encourages people to treat other people when it comes to sex as nothing more than transitional goods, rather than a good end in and of themselves. So you simply see another person or sex with another person as nothing more than a means to an end. It is the means to you gratifying yourself. Then because human sexuality is so central and such a powerful drive for the human person, it really is only a matter of time before that same sort of treating of other people as transitional goods and as mere objects starts to manifest itself in other areas of your life as well. So if you treat someone as an object when it comes to sexuality, I'll have sex with whoever I want, whenever I like, and when it is very self-centric, very ego-driven, very narcissistic, it's surely quite conceivable that you would actually treat them the same way when it came to arguments or fights and possibly even lashing out with your fists or other forms of physical violence. The other thing that I would really love to see investigated is the impact that attitudes around things like benevolent sexism have in those Nordic cultures versus those other cultures. Because one of the things that's very prevalent when it comes to the whole issue of gender equality isn't just one idea, it's a multiple set of ideas and different ideologies all bundled together. And so some of them are good, some of them are bad and quite irrational, but they're often all bundled together and you've got no choice, supposedly. If you want to accept gender equality, you're supposed to take the whole package. The crazy, nutty, extreme, militant feminist ideas, along with the really good, authentic, genuine respect for other persons, regardless of their gender ideas. You sort of got to take the whole lot. And one of these crazy ideas is this notion now of what people are calling benevolent sexism, where they are attacking men for using the gift of their masculine strength to put themselves at service of women by doing things like opening doors, letting them go first, caring, nurturing, protecting them. Because the simple fact is that men, we are gifted with strength superiority over women. We are physically superior to women in the majority of cases. There are obviously exceptions to the rule, but 99% of the time, and the general norm is that as men, we are physically superior. And I believe with that physical superiority comes obligation, very serious obligation. And the way that we truly find ourselves as men is by using our physical strength and putting it at the service of those around us who don't have that same physical strength that we do. And so that means serving women, children, other members of our community who are in vulnerable positions. And when we do that, we become great as men. And it's a really good and important thing. We find ourselves, wider society has benefited and grows through this in really important ways as well. However, when you try and put men down and tell them that they are being benevolent sexist for doing this, that they are treating women as inferior objects, that somehow this is insulting and degrading and they should stop doing it. Instead, they should just use their own masculine strength for their own gratification, however the heck they please. But as long as you don't ever do anything that we label benevolent sexism, then is it hardly surprising that then men turn around and start lashing out with their fists and justifying it in their mind and saying, oh, well, I don't have to use my masculine strength to protect you, so why shouldn't I just turn on you with it now as well? Because that's equality, isn't it? In fact, I'm hearing this argument in the work that I do, being made more and more, and by even younger men, who are saying, well, look, this is how equality works now. If a young man annoys me and I lash out with my fists, why can't I do the same thing with a young woman who annoys me? I just smack her in the face as well. And there is something really, really problematic about that because, as I said, men have a physical superiority. That's not equality. That makes you an abusive bully. So I'd love to really delve more deeply, or have social scientists delve more deeply into these issues and really ask those questions and try and get to the bottom of this Nordic paradox. Because I think it's hugely important, because as I said, when it comes to gender equality, in the West we've bought into a whole lot of packaged ideals here. And if some of them are actually causing problems for us, like increased violence, male-female violence, then we need to go back and revisit those ideas and dispatch with them pretty darn quickly and replace them with a more authentic anthropology, a more authentic view of reality and masculinity and the human person in male-female relations, which actually builds nurture and care, compassion and love, not more domestic violence. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily.